Hello. So,
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I don't think you know much about what's going on because I also don't either. So this is my first episode. Essentially, for me, I've been really approaching dance now in reflection of like how much it has impacted my life and how it really seeps into every part of my life. And then I'm also really curious about how that seeps into the impacts in every aspect of other people's lives. So I'm calling this just chatting with dope dance friends who are dope influential figures about how dance impacted your life.
Very good.
Yeah. And I am intentionally not wanting to give out like a whole professional bio. I'm going to freestyle this bio, just introduce you as a friend.
Okay.
As if like, you know, we just met somebody who's like, this is Clocks.
Hi, I'm Clocks.
I just realized we didn't even say your name until now.
Did you say your name until now?
I didn't. My name is Jackson because my dad's name is Jack. I'm his son, so I'm Jack's son. It's a true story. I tell that joke all the time. I was born a pun. Yeah. So this is Clocks. He makes clocks for a living. Watches, alarm clock. I'm just kidding. Actually, I don't know. Do you? I don't know.
I used to collect watches. I used to be known for wearing lots of watches, and I stopped that in when I started joining dance teams. I was on this choreography crew called Academy of Villains for a while, and when you have a really massive metal watch really in close proximity to people's faces going full out, that can end badly. So I stopped wearing watches after I started joining dance teams.
Dang.
You know.
Actually, I don't think what is your origin for your name Clocks?
Oh, it's multifaceted. There's multiple parts of it. But the abridged version is basically I was getting into the dance scene, into the battle scene in Los Angeles, and my crewmate at the time, Aqua, basically said, hey, we gotta get you a real dance name. You can't just be entering these battles with your government name. Like, you're starting to get good, we should get you like a dance name. And I'm like, oh, all right. A lot of the people who had given me dance names prior kind of were terrible. One person tried to. So the reason that's important is because in the scene, a lot of times people will get their dance names from somebody. Typically, you do not name yourself. Someone else will give you a name, and then that name will stick. And so names that people tried to give me were, the first one was Schoolboy. And this was before Schoolboy Q, so it was not cool yet. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I'm already the white guy, like, who started dancing in college. Like, this isn't gonna fly. Like, I'm not doing this. And then somebody else at a rave tried to name me A-Train with like 4 A's.
A or ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, no, absolutely not. So my trust in other people's naming conventions were kind of shattered at that point, and I was just decided, like, I'm just gonna go by my government name. And then he was just like, okay, that makes sense. This was his solution. He was like, do you have a list of names that you're interested in? Let me pick from one of them, and I'll name you. This way you can have, it's like a loophole, right? It's like you get to figure out whatever your names are, and then I will pick it for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. So Clocks was on the list. And there was a list of about 5 to 7 names-ish. And that was the one he liked, and he started calling me that, and then my crew started calling me that, and then the local LA community just started calling me that, and then it stuck. And now it's like I think there's a very clear delineation in my life of people who call me by my government name and people who refer to me as Clocks. So Clocks is my preferred name. If you don't know me by my government name already, it's too late. Like, that's basically what it is. But it's easier, and people remember it, and the marketing works. So I like it a lot. So that's kind of like how it basically like came about.
So it had nothing to do with like the, I don't know, the shape of a clock and the arms and stuff, you know.
I mean, part of it was because I was into animation, and I didn't want a name that was associated with popping exactly, because I already knew that I was a multidisciplinary artist. Again, I started dancing when I was at film school. And so I wanted a name that I could take out of the dance community and still engage somewhere else. Like, I didn't just want to be like
Popping
J
clocks.
Boogie. Yeah, I didn't want to. I didn't want to like have like that kind of a name. Like, I didn't want it to be exclusive to popping. So I wanted a name that didn't mean anything. That may have had some tangential relation to dance or my style of movement, but otherwise was flexible enough to only mean what I made it mean. And the thing that I liked about it the most was that it meant nothing. To my knowledge, there was nobody else who had that name. And it was just one of those things where it was just like
a blank canvas.
Yeah, no one's gonna have any idea what this means, but then it's only gonna mean whatever you make it mean.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I definitely have thought of the same in terms of like, I don't want my name to only be specific to like one dance thing.
Yeah.
It's like b-boy thingy.
Yeah,
and then
b-boy thingy.
b-boy
actually
thingy.
go kind of hard.
yeah. So cool. I actually never knew.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. You heard it here first. I want to also, okay. Oh yeah, I didn't introduce you. This is my friend Clocks. Hello, everybody. He is a very informative, insightful, philosophical, spiritual, good posture, dope fashion all the time. Usually, I think yellow pants, but now
Yellow pants are for the battles. That's the marketing trick.
Ooh, okay.
But it's pastels every other time.
I
changed as a person, and it's kind of like Bob Ross. You know, he the painter, the famous ASMR painter before ASMR was cool. He had the fro, like the really big fro, and he actually started to not like it throughout his career. But his manager was like, "No, you got to keep it. People know you by that." And it's the same thing with the yellow pants. At one point, it was like my marketing thing, and my personal tastes have transitioned to pastels, but I keep the yellow pants for the marketing.
For the marketing.
Saint Bob Ross, patron saint of happy trees.
The spirit, happy trees. Yeah, I remember the first time I knew it existed. I think it was in college when you came to Colorado. And then I think you crashed on our couch, me and Nikolai, in Boulder, at our apartment. I think you were there for a rock. Were you there for Rockers Rumble? Or maybe it was.
I went to a Rockers Rumble.
Where did you live? Or stay?
I thought I stayed with Soleil, but I don't know.
Okay.
No, that was another time. That was in like the winter time. No. But then I stayed with her family. I honestly don't remember.
Maybe one of the times at Block. Maybe I'll meet you at Block Party. Anyway, in Colorado.
For sure.
And then that's when I remembered you because you were in Jabberwockies. Even then, I remembered you as a filmmaker, and you were telling me about the films that you were wanting to make and so on. I think you were the first person that I knew personally who operated a Steadicam, and then also with your body too. And then, I was just like, you had a huge impression with me. And then of course, like your humor and then the way that you speak, it's always just so catches people's attention. Really want to listen to what you got to say. So, and then since then, moving to LA and then just like meeting you out here, getting to know you more, just knowing that like you're just a really dope dancer. And then a friend of mine too, Leo, was talking about like you're one of those dancers that like, you know, if he's just scrolling and then there's a video of you, he would just stop and watch the whole thing. You know, it's just
oh, thank you.
Yeah, just like from the way that you speak, from the way that you dance, everything, it's just really captivating. And then people want to listen. And
Thank
also future OG of MPC style as well. I think that was a lot of descriptions and then whatnot. So I'm really curious, and now pop quiz, how would you introduce yourself without mentioning dance or work? Who are you?
I mean, my passion is creative communication. Everything I do is related to that. Everything is communication from whatever kind of art that I'm doing. To me, all art is communication. We can make it as simple or as broad as we like, but if we're just going for pure simplicity's sake, I would definitely describe myself as somebody who is a creative communicator, passionate about various forms of arts, and exploring more and more of myself each day in a pleasantly surprising and synchronous journey. That's kind of the idea. Anytime you ask me, it could be a different explanation or a different answer, but it's going to be more or less around that.
Do you know the card games kind of like We're Not Really Strangers, Where Do We Begin, Parents Are Human? So they're card games that have different levels of questions.
Oh, okay.
So for example, level 1, what is your favorite ice cream? And then as we go a few rounds, it's like, okay, cool. Level 2 questions like, all right, who hurt you? That kind of thing.
Who hurt you?
Who hurt you?
What is your favorite ice cream? Who hurt you?
Yeah, so it gets deeper and deeper, but we ease into it, right? So one day, I sat down for 2 hours and wrote down 100 questions. I categorized them casual and existential, specifically for dancers. So just to engage in more reflections for dancers about like how dance has impacted our lives. I think as our first one, I want to play with, maybe we'll go with 3 casual questions and then go into 3 existential questions, and then I have one final one at the end.
Oh, fine.
And I want, this can be super conversational, so at any point you can be like, what do you think? Like, what is your, how do I answer this? And so on. You can flip it to me anytime. You can also say, I don't want to talk about it. That's fine too.
All right.
Yeah, so, So, eventually I will print these out, make nice cute little cards, but for now I just have them all in Notion, and then I just have them in a tab. So
yeah, whatever works.
You have here, you can maneuver your finger over. I'll just scroll it.
Oh, you're just thumbing.
Right.
Right.
And then you can just press down anytime.
Blah.
Okay. Name 3 people you would have on your dance podcast. And what would you talk about? This feels like one. So like, this is your show.
All right, so this is already it. It's funny because like I've thought about doing podcasts related to dance. I've had multiple people ask me to start doing that kind of stuff, and I haven't really thought about guests very much. So this is actually a really interesting question. One, I do appreciate being on here. I kind of feel like saying your name would kind of be a cop-out.
Oh yeah,
because it's like, you're already here and we're already doing this, so we're gonna assume that it's 3 people other than Jackson, because we're already doing a dance podcast. So it's like, all right, so I'm gonna pick 3 other people. All right. I think if I picked 3 people, I would adjust them based on demographic, right? So I would probably go by demographic first to get different viewpoints, not just by generation, but also by region. And so I would probably pick, if it was actually 3 actual people, 3 human beings.
Call them out, shout out.
I know 3 human beings. Let's see, who do I think is really good at a dance podcast?
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes you think about like who's a good speaker.
It also just depends on like what you're talking about, like what the topic actually is, right? Because if we're talking about dance history, that's going to be a completely different group of people versus like just like anybody talking from a perspective of like technique versus what's happening in the current like state of affairs. within the dance community. Well, I specialize in like a lot of street dance styles, specifically robot, animation, and tutting. Those are like my three favorite things. But in general, I also really enjoy like all styles events, specifically things that like are welcoming to all street dance styles and, you know, genuinely beyond. So I'd probably pick someone who's versed in those kinds of things or has some interaction with that. I'd probably pick, for street dance, from someone I can perceive to be my own generation who can also like speak really well, I think it's Jesse Sykes.
Oh.
I think I'd pick Jesse Sykes as one. I think if I wanted somebody older, right, someone who I think has like a historical knowledge and background from those kinds of things, I'd probably pick, if we're just talking, just not arguing, but just talking about dance in general, I'd probably pick OG Midnight. He's the guy who throws Pauper's Picnic every year. He was also one of the people who helped train me and my first crew in Los Angeles, Systematic Funk. And we, we didn't get a whole lot of time together, but he had like a really profound effect on me, and in terms of like how I think about certain things. And in general, I found that his experience is very valuable. And then someone else who might be like open to things, but also not necessarily directly aligned on like everything that I agree on, because I think it's important to have like a varied discussion. I'd probably think it'd be maybe probably like Breeze Lee or Miss Funk. Because I feel like they know a lot, and they've been around a lot, and they also have like they can reach back, like historically, but they can also reach forward to new generations. And I think that's really important. I feel like I'm very much connected more so to the newer generations, and like I reach back somewhat, but I feel like that way there's like we have representation of 3 different time periods. And I realize regionally that's probably a little too LA West Coast focused, right? So like hypothetically, if we wanted to expand it, we could go by country or continent or something else. But I think just based off of, if we're talking about English speakers, I think that would be a pretty good mix for something that I'm likely to talk about. Of course, this is bound to change depending on the topic. Like if we're looking for animators, like I might pick 3 completely different people. Well, actually, maybe not Midnight, but like there are lots of animators worldwide that I can already like think about who have like really, really different opinions. And in that way, I think Jesse Sykes and I might overlap on a couple things. But like I said, it just depends on the topic. So it would just be like whatever happens. I think that'd be a pretty interesting panel. Even just to moderate, even just to ask questions and just be like, what do y'all think of this? Like I think that would be a really interesting panel.
What would be, if you were to pick one topic? Kind of like for this one, I guess the simplified is like how dance has changed, or impacted our lives. Like, what would be your topic?
I'm passionate about one topic right now. One specific one in dance. And it's, what is animation?
Spicy.
I do think it's I do think that there are different. This is one where region matters. the different parts of the U.S. have different definitions of it. Different places around the world have different definitions of it. And to my knowledge, there's about 7 or 8 different ways to answer that question. Every other answer more or less fits into one of those 7 or 8 different ways. And I'm actually planning on doing a video about that relatively soon. And it's not stuff that it's not something I'm like coming up with. I'm just putting words to a thing that's already happening. And so some people are like, no, there's only one way to define animation. And I'm just like, you say that, but that's not reality. That's not actually what the animation scene as a whole worldwide is experiencing. And you only need to travel to like 2 different places in the US to figure that out. Because you're just gonna, like, you just travel far enough, and you're gonna recognize that not everybody agrees on the same thing, but they pretend to. We all seem to know, or seem to expect everyone to have our version of what animation is. And so I think if I had to ask them that one question, that's what it would be. Yeah.
I feel like this is also where, in general, getting into like one art, even specifically, like so deep that like oftentimes it is that kind of like, what is, drumming? Like what is hustle, like other dances, like, and then on the I like us to say the Muggle world and the non-dancer, non-artist world, it's like, what is justice? Same thing. You can say that, oh, clearly it has one definition of justice, but then, like you said, it's not reality because of life, just so complex. So yeah, I love that. It's like such a simple but also such a deep, complex question. So that'll be a great panel.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think it's about trying to get to one answer. It's about recognizing that different people have different answers to that question.
Yeah.
And the more we can start recognizing that people are going to answer this question differently, and if you try to force different pockets of people to adhere to your worldview, that can end up kind of
like that
causing a ruckus.
Yes. Yeah.
People may not like that.
You may not like that. Some people like that, which is why he does that,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, want to go with another one?
Let's do it.
So next casual one.
Bam.
Oh, that was the description.
That didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That was a description.
Ooh, okay. What is a dance move that always brings you joy?
What is a dance move that always brings me joy?
Reminds me of the what is that one? I think in Colorado, like body poets and whatnot. You guys were doing this one a lot.
Yeah, there were some of those things. I kind of don't remember them anymore because it's been a while. But basically, what's a dance move that always brings me joy? There's a few. Dance brings me a lot of joy, in general. You're talking about one specific dance move. I think, as a style, I'd probably say NPC because it makes me laugh when I do it. But that's like the entire style of it. So I think if I had to think about one specific dance move, it would be literally my first dance move ever from before I was a dancer. Before I started dancing, or like really pursuing dance, like I always had like a moderate interest in it. Like I taught myself a can opener, like the one-legged sweep, like breaking. I started as a b-boy.
Grinder.
Yeah, the coffee grinder, right? Like that thing. There are so many. There were a couple things that I saw. I think it was literally just this. This was my first dance move ever, and it was just moving side to side, bouncing my shoulders, like too much.
Too much.
Like it was more than enough. Yeah, it was basically that. It was this right here, you know? But it was like, it's just this double bounce, like rocking side to side, and that was it. And like every time I do it, it was just like,
nice.
yeah.
Brings a smile. Easy.
And it's just like, you don't have to be a good dancer to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it feels fun,
Mm.
and like it gets like the body moving without getting you to sweat. So that's kinda nice.
Without sweating too. Yes, yeah. Something you can do at like, cocktail parties and whatnot. I've never gone to a cocktail party.
A fun fact: I kind of started dancing because I wanted something to do at parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't drink and I don't smoke, so a lot of times that.
So what else
like
do you do?
in college,
Yeah.
right? It's like that was pretty much the reason you went out to parties, was like doing that kind of stuff. And I was just like, well, I don't do any of that.
Yeah.
So I went to one particular party I went to one specific frat party, and I saw that there was a circle of b-boys just randomly in the back, and I was like, wait, what is this?
Randomly in the back, that's such a b-boy.
and I was just like, what? Wait, this is actually really interesting. And they were like, I remember them blowing my mind, and I was just like, that was really cool. And it's like, I want that. I want to learn that.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a. I feel like I learned in college. What was it? There's somebody who's been dancing, who's much better than me, who's dancing much longer, and then he was talking about like he's past the days of like breaking at parties, because of the sticky floor and gross and whatnot. But I wasn't there yet. I wanted to impress.
There yet.
I was like, oh, look how cool I can be. But then I'm still socially awkward after, so I was like, huh! And then I just so I was like, don't talk to anybody anyway. And then it's like, whoa, what was that? And then the circle just like, nobody else is dancing, so the circle just stays there until it's like, and then people just start closing the circle again. The awkward b-boy circle in the back. Nice.
Yeah.
We're moving on into closer to existential questions. The third one. Oh, you went to the bottom?
I went to the bottom.
What dance gig do you think I would turn down? Oh.
Wait, you?
Yeah.
What dance gig do I think you would turn down?
I don't know. Well, I kind of...
An abusive one. I feel like you're well enough. I think if you were in a position where you recognize that there was any kind of abuse going on beforehand, one of the things that I've been fortunate enough to be able to experience is how willing you are to, stand up for people, especially if other people are being harmed. And I think, we're all learning to stand up more for ourselves as well in those ways. So I think in general, any gig where you could tell that something shady was happening, that you'd be able to make short work of that.
That's very true. And that's really impressive how quickly you came up with that answer. 'Cause I was like, what would I was like, wow, yes. That's true. Yeah. Wow. Okay. You ready for the existential ones?
Always.
I hope you. It's been really interesting every time I do this with friends, and then they just pick one that's like very hitting their, where they are right now in life. So
yeah,
I hope this happens like that too.
I don't know how far I can scroll, or if I just pick one.
You could. Okay. What is one fear or stressor in dance you would like to overcome? Do you have any
in dance?
Mm-hmm. This guy's won so many international battles, so I'm really curious about this.
Fear or stressor in dance? If whatever challenges I have in dance, I don't look at them as fears or stressors. If there is something that I want to do, I can just look at that and recognize that that is an interest of mine. It no longer becomes, I don't have a negative definition about it. I don't believe that I can't do it. If it's relevant for me to do it, I'll do it. If it's not relevant for me to do it, I won't do it. But I know that pursuing it is part of discovering myself, and that's what's most important. And sometimes I can begin a particular path and recognize that partway through it, it wasn't necessarily about completing that specific goal or task, but getting me started on that path helped me discover more about myself. And that was the thing that was most important to get out of it. So I found out what I needed to find out when I needed to find it. And so for me, the idea of it being seen as some kind of a stressor or a fear of some kind doesn't really resonate in that way. I've had moments like that where it did, like before I had that specific kind of perspective, but ultimately I was able to assuage them in a way that was related to my answer, where I recognized like certain things where I was just like, if I find myself in this position, then I'll work with what I have. And based on my perspective on who I am and where I am and how I relate to the world around me, I know that there's no situation that I can't handle. That's a negative belief. That does not serve me to do that. So I know if I find myself in a situation, I must be able to find myself to the place that I prefer. Choosing to doubt myself about that doesn't serve me in any way. And so as long as I'm open to keeping my expectations loose and not rigid, then it's really easy to be able to find yourself in any position and become incredibly flexible about whatever you're doing, to the point where you don't experience the fear or stress of it at all.
Wow.
You just recognize like, oh, this is teaching me something about myself, typically something about my power. And when you start recognizing that whatever fear or challenge that you have, whatever fear or stressor that you have is really just a challenge that will help you discover more of your own power, then you can look at them and experience those kinds of challenges as empowering. You don't look at them as fear anymore.
Ooh.
It's just like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I wonder how I'm going to get through this. As opposed to like, oh, I wonder how I'm going to get through this. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's a very significant difference in state of being. But I know that I have done the latter one. I have freaked out about stuff before. I wasn't always like that. But it was eventually learning that I could do that that made me grateful for the times when I did experience it that way. Because they taught me how to do that.
It's almost like the fear and stressor or stress, like the opposite, the other end of it, curiosity and excitement. Did that sound about?
Yeah, I mean, fear and anxiety are just excitement, but with a negative definition attached. They're the same energy. Usually, if you're afraid of something, it's usually related to something that you really want. But there's a negative belief associated with it. And so once we recognize that there are certain actions and thoughts that we are actively choosing, or maybe not always actively, sometimes quite passively, right? Sometimes they're the ideas of whatever conditioning that we have. But that's when it becomes important that to recognize that if we do have conditioning, once we recognize that we have conditioning, it's no longer a habit. It is a choice. If we recognize that we have conditioning and we do not take action on changing it, that is a choice. It's a completely valid one. I wouldn't say that there's anything wrong with that. That is nothing to judge yourself about. But if we continue to make that choice, we will experience the world or a reality that is commensurate with that choice.
Yeah. What would you say, how did you get to this point or that perspective?
It was a combination of things. Part of it was the willingness to find it. Right? Part of it was the willingness to recognize that general blanket statements in a pessimistic vein were not facts. Being willing to distance yourself from that idea first. And then I think this is a very personal scenario, because I think whatever comes up after that is going to be dependent on what you believe will work for you. It's always going to work within your beliefs. And so I found a few experiences and a couple of different teachers, some literal teachers, some teachers by example, right, who were able to show me alternatives. And once I was able to notice, I was like, oh, you can just do that. You can just do that instead. The conditioning or the conditions in which I was brought up are not facts. They are perspectives. And you can totally use those perspectives to experience the world. That's totally fine. But once I recognized that those were choices, and that if they weren't for me, then those probably weren't the right choices, then it made it much easier to recognize. It's like, oh, just choose something else. And then you would just repeatedly do that until it became first nature. Until
Practice.
there was no other. Your gut instinct is to experience something in a way that doesn't include fear, that doesn't include stress, right? The way it's literally what people do to convince themselves stress and fear are real or necessary. They're the same level of choice as the alternative. It's just that when there's a bunch of people around you saying the same thing, it makes it feel like it can attempt, if we have insecurities about ourselves or our choices, it may seem to challenge the notion that there is an alternative. But that's why it's so important to be willing to be yourself. That's why it's so important to be willing to make the choices that are right for you. It's like, if somebody else wants to go and say, it's like, what are you talking about? Fear is totally real, and it's objective reality. It's objective truth. I'm like, all right, that's your truth. You can totally do that. But I know that that's not my truth. That may be your truth.
Yeah.
And that's always subject to change.
Yeah.
So, just based on the choices that you make. So in that way, right, it just becomes like, what are you choosing?
It's your subjective truth that there is an objective truth.
Yeah.
It's like, not mine, but you can believe that.
Yeah, and I think being able to look at things that way and to question things that were otherwise heretofore regarded as objective truths is not just important in arts or sciences, but the perspective on life, right? Existentialism in general, right? I think that becomes very important for the evolution of consciousness personally and collectively.
Yeah, almost kind of like passing down to the next generation with like choosing what to pass down, what kind of mentality and what.
Yeah, and you don't even have to like think of it as passing anything down.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Ultimately, that's not up to us.
Yeah.
You can act as a teacher. You can act by example. If you only have one student, you're still a teacher. Whether you have 1 million students or you have one student, you're still a teacher, right? But it's the example that you set that's going to make that matter, right? It doesn't matter about whatever the numbers are. It's like just this idea of who you choose to be. So regardless of whether you pass this down or pass that down, right? How you act and where you come from in that action is going to, create the basically the state of being within you, and that's going to be recognizable by other people. Whether they choose to recognize it is up to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That choice there, and that's out of our control.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that we got into belief systems, because last time this guy gave me a 4-hour therapy session and changed my life since that was what, 4 weeks ago? So, yeah, 5 weeks maybe. I don't know.
That's about right. That was right before I went to Japan.
Yeah, and that was our first question. So,
Yay.
2 more.
Wham.
Okay, oh, that's a long one. What, what is a value or experience you inherited from a previous generation that you will not pass down? AKA, what generational cycle will you choose to break?
Oh man, where do I start?
It pertains to dance, of course.
Oh, pertaining to dance.
Mhm.
Pertaining to dance. How do I keep it dance related?
Especially being the animation world and popping world, I am really curious. And also pertaining to what we just talked about too.
Got it.
Mm.
My mother emigrated with me from the Soviet Union. Actually, it had collapsed already, so it was from Russia. When I was very young. And she basically was the person who raised me. She had married and subsequently divorced in my childhood, but she came from a well-meaning place of how to get results. As far as like she came here with the intent of giving herself and myself a better quality of life. That was what she came here to do, and I believe that she was successful in that. And one of her belief systems was that in order to get results came from force. She grew up in a different era, in a different demographic, and with the tools that she had, right, she used that understanding to impart that idea into me as well. And for a time, I did believe that. There was a particular period of time where I was like 9 years old, and this is my like first real memory of that, right? Well, probably there were others, but this was like one of the more prominent memories that stick out of my mind. And I was getting into speech and debate in like 4th grade, right? In like elementary school. And basically there was like a poetry and prose competition in Oklahoma, because that's where we ended up. And I was like, great, I'm going to learn this Snape monologue from Harry Potter, because I was really into Harry Potter at the time. And my mom was like, I will help you. And I'm like, great. And basically like what ended up happening was she made me like drill it like again and again and again, like past the point I said I didn't want to do it anymore. And like by the time that I was done, I was like pretty much begging for it to stop, and I was like in tears.
Oh wow.
And I like didn't want to do it anymore. And then when I went to the competition, I did the performance and I won. And that was the moment when I realized, or I made this connection, that if I hurt myself, I can get what I want. That if I really want something bad enough, I will hurt myself to get it. I will force myself to do it. I will go beyond my breaking points to do it. And so in dance, I had a particular moment where in 2019, I went to Japan.
Oh.
Yeah, it was for a tutting battle, Dexterity Dance League Japan. And in 2018, I actually was in New York for the same dance battle, literally the exact year prior. And I was so impressed and so wowed by the event. Dexterity Dance League New York 2018. I was there with a few of my friends. I met a bunch of wonderful people, and I was like, this is it. This is the one battle I want. Like, more than any other battle, this is the one that matters to me. And I recognized that in order to do that, like, there were so many incredible people. I basically, at that event, I had to use my best round in my prelims. I used everything in my prelims, and then I didn't even make it out of prelims. I had to go through a prelim tiebreaker just to get into the event. And then I think I lost either top 4 or somewhere in there, top 4 or top 8, somewhere in there. But I was like, at that point, it's like, if I want to win this, like, I need to train way harder. And so for that year, like, I made a schedule and I planned out all the weeks that I had left. And each week I counted down the number of weeks until the battle. And I trained tutting to such an extent that I was just like, I know I'm going to be ready for it. And it was like, it was a lot to work on. My personal relationships definitely suffered. But the thing that happened was, when I went to the battle, I did end up winning the battle. I got what I wanted. Not only did I win that battle, but I also won the all-styles category at the same event. So I was in 2 battles simultaneously, and I won both of them that night.
Wow.
And it was a great feeling. It was absolutely amazing. And then I came home, and I didn't want to touch tutting ever again. And I basically won the battle and lost my curiosity for the art.
Oof.
And it was one of those things where it just became so ingrained into my body that this was 2019, and so this was 2019, shortly after the plague happened, and then the online battle started happening, and I was invited to compete with a bunch of other, like, world-class tutters, right? This, like, event, Geometric Madness Golden Edition or something like this, in, like, 2021. And I was invited because I had won the most recent Dexterity Dance League in person. And I remember attempting to train for that, and every time I did, there was, like, physical pain in my body.
Wow.
That I could like not get over. I did end up submitting something, and I hated it. I did not enjoy the process of doing that. It just, every part about it just made me want to push it away again and again and again. And so for basically years, I had lost my curiosity for that. Until recently, right? Until, I started getting more along the lines, and I started learning more about the kinds of beliefs that we hold. I started recognizing that I did not need to hurt myself to get what I want. And this is a belief that I've just held in general. I wasn't expecting to reapply this to dance. And so this year, actually, like, literally like 3 weeks ago, I was in Japan for a battle. Leading up to this battle, I had the same urge. Like 3 months up until the battle, it's like, all right, you got to train, you got to drill, you got to do all this kind of stuff. You got to really work for this. You got to, like, make this your priority. Like, you're spending thousands of dollars on this place to go to this thing. It's like, you got to make it worth your while. And then I didn't really train, and then 2 months. I didn't really train, and then 1 month left. It's like, all right, you got to train every single day. You can still probably do well if you train every day from now until the battle. And then I kind of just stopped, and I stopped myself, and I just thought, okay, what do I really want? Why does winning matter? How am I defining winning? Why do I want this? And I was just like, you haven't really practiced tutting in years. I still use combos that I made in 2018 from that battle, right? Like these combos that I'm using today are still like 6-7 years old, right? Yeah, granted, it's still relatively effective, but the idea is, like I hadn't really made anything. I was basically showing up, basically gonna show up to the battle with the same stuff I had 6 years ago. And I was like, I don't really think that's gonna win. And part of it is just like, I don't think I care that much. I don't think that's what matters this time. I think I already won. I won Japan 6 years ago. I'm really glad to do that. What did I lose? That's the battle that I need to win. My loss was, the thing that I lost in Japan 6 years ago was my curiosity and my love for dance. And I was like, well then that's it. That's what I win. That's what I should do. My goal for this event is to just go and enjoy myself, have a good time, and every moment leading up until then and every moment at the battle should be about and focused on cultivating my love for tutting. That's it. Nothing else is more important. You make it through prelims, you don't make it through prelims, doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I was just like, okay. I practiced like 4 days just specifically so I can like kind of enjoy tutting. It was really free form. I jotted some notes down on like what techniques do I even still have in tutting anymore, like just as a reminder of like a reboot session. And that was it. That was all I did. I can probably count on 1, maybe 2 hands the number of days I practiced. And I can almost certainly count the number of hours I practiced on my hands, on my fingers. And then I won that battle. I remember being in the finals. Well, leading up to that moment, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this thing. I want to do something new in the prelims. So I did one of 2 new things that I've made since 2019. And I used one of them just to make it through prelims because I didn't even know I wasn't sure if I was going to make it through prelims. But I had no expectations. I didn't doubt myself, but I didn't give myself expectations. This was just one of those things where it's like, anything can happen, and I'm just going to do my best and enjoy what I do. And that's it. That was what I focused on. Then I got through prelims, and I was like, okay, great. No idea who this next person I'm battling is going to be. I'm just going to go out and have fun. And in the middle of it, I had an idea. I did the idea, and everybody loved it. I was like, that was cool. That was fun. I'm glad I got to engage with that. The next person up, I was like, oh, this person, really cool. I saw them battle. They're really good. You might lose. Just don't leave on a note where you feel like you had stuff in the tank. Just let it out. Doesn't matter. Don't save moves. Just do it. Just enjoy yourself. And then I did. And then I won that. And that kept happening until I was in the finals. And I was like, I'm in the finals. I could win this. And I was like, it was against a really famous tutter, Graphic. He's super dope. Big, like, huge fan of his work. Does a lot of incredible stuff. And I was like, great. This is amazing. Couldn't be more pleased. Not about necessarily about making it to the finals per se, but like, oh, I get to battle this person I just met today, who I've seen online for like 5 years, probably longer than that, probably 6-ish years, right? And it's like, how cool, how delicious of a moment this is. This is fun, right? And I was like, win or lose, I already won. I feel like I get to enjoy tutting. I feel like I'm enjoying myself. whatever happens, happens. We go to a tiebreaker, and then I end up winning after that. And I was just like, you guys.
This is for the generational drama.
Yeah. And all of that just like links together.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, yeah, this is the natural byproduct of the belief of holistically understanding that you do not have to hurt yourself or others to get what you want. And in that moment, not only did I not have to force myself to, like, it was previously unthinkable that I would have to use force to do that. And I understand that my mother was raised in a different time in a different place. She had different tools. She did what she did because she genuinely believed it was the best thing for me. And while that doesn't remove the pain of what happened, it's my responsibility to heal. It's my responsibility to make the right choice for me. If she genuinely believes that that's the right choice for her and she wants to continue talking about that, that is her decision. In that way, I know that the rest of that choice is on me. The rest of that responsibility to make that choice is on me. And so being able to not just act on it, or not just think about it, not just say it, but actually act on it. Like a few years ago, even, the idea of spending a few $1,000s just to go enter some random battle in a foreign country and not care about whether or not you win just seemed so frivolous. And it was just like, no, you got to make sure that like you do your best and you do all this kind of stuff. And it's like, that was unnecessary. And maybe I can hear some people already saying, it's like, yeah, but you were already good. And I was like, but I was, if that's the case, I was already good in 2021 then. And I should have been able to do the same thing for the Geometric Madness battle, the online battle. I should have been able to love that equally as much. The difference was the personal choice. My skill just happened to flow more naturally through me. The things that I've done, I did things that I've never done before on that stage because I was able to trust myself and I didn't stress about it. And that's fine. That's part of freestyling. You don't want every part of your freestyle to be choreographed. And it's like, that's also not necessarily how I use sets anyway. I have like a whole other thing about sets, and I can talk about that later. But I think that more or less answers that question.
Yeah.
I think that's like the really big full circle moment, and the fact that just happened like a week ago, or like 3 weeks ago. At this point, made it just makes it feel really relevant.
Wow, it feels very relevant. Even when you were saying that, 2021 and 2019, like, it's not that long ago.
Well, it is that long ago. It just doesn't feel that long ago.
That's true, yeah.
Because the plague robbed us of some years,
Yeah, when you said 8 years ago, it was 2017, I was like, oh, yeah. That's beautiful. Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because kind of like you said, to practice it, like, is one thing to know it. Now that you even saying it to me, like, I know of it, I'm aware of it. And even right now, like, I'm practicing a new relationship with work, with jobs as well. And to practice it is hard.
That's a belief. But
oh,
I call it out when I see it because that's what I do to myself. It's the more you engage with those structures, the more you recognize that you're like, oh, these are all just beliefs, and they're like a house of cards, right? They support each other, but they're not inherently true. Once you start removing them one by one, you can start moving more of them and build whatever else you want. right? The beliefs don't care about whether they're positive or negative, right? The beliefs exist. The belief structures function the same way regardless of whether they serve you in one way or another, whether you believe that they're mechanically positive or mechanically negative, right? That's just but to your point, the idea that there is a difference between intellectually understanding something or intellectually grasping the idea of it and being willing to allow it to work for you. Ooh. Being willing to believe in it holistically enough that, like, yes, this can be true for me, or this is true for me. Like, make it present. Like, this is true for me, right? Will make all the difference in that. Because there's a lot of people who understand things intellectually. It's like, yeah, this could work, but I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got that. How am I supposed to do any of those things? And it's like, well, if you allow those to be blocks instead of creative solutions to work with, then you're going to remain in that same space. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what I mean by it being a choice.
Yeah. I love that. You're just like, that's a belief. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know what to say. I will practice.
You can practice it now.
Yeah. But yeah, practicing can be easy. Practicing is easy.
There you go.
Yeah, changing my choices mentally, my intentions with things.
The easiest way is just keep it present. It's simpler when you just keep it in the present moment. All of these varying conjugations of future perfect tenses, future perfect tense sentences, we don't need that. I would have had this kind of confidence and I will have it then. And it's like, the way those sentences are structured keeps separating that from you. Just make it simple. Keep it simple. Like, if the sentence is long, like, that's already an indication that it's kind of you're making more separation than there needs to be. Right? Mentally, the way you're structuring that idea is longer than it needs to be. If you can say, learning is easy. Dancing is easy. Dancing is challenging, but challenges are fun. Like, really, really simple ideas. That's the way it makes it a lot easier to remember, and you can also feel that more. When there's more words in each of those, like, ideas or definitions, it may be more challenging to actually resonantly feel the feelings of how you actually feel about those ideas.
Yeah.
And the feelings are the key to really understanding what your beliefs are. Because all your feelings are just the resonant frequency as a result of beliefs that you have. Your beliefs are the things that are creating that experience of those feelings. We cannot have feelings without an underlying belief that is motivating them. They're all coming in some form or fashion from that way.
So changing the way we feel about it, is that a way to approach the belief, or what? Just okay, yeah, changing belief at the root.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because, well, the idea is that if the feeling is coming from the belief, then the way you change the feeling is by changing the belief.
Makes sense. When it's put simply like that, yes. Yeah.
The feeling is just letting you know where you're at. And if we can learn to acknowledge that things like fear or stress aren't inherently bad things, they can be useful for you because they're telling you when you're in alignment with your true self or things that you prefer, right? If you're talking about this idea of, like, know yourself, or talking about this idea of what is my true self, right? Or how can I heal as a human being to my fullest extent? right? How can I be the greatest possible version of myself, right? In those ways, right, you're looking at, we're looking at recognizing that any time we have a feeling that is out of alignment with who we say we are or who we say we want to be, we're going to feel that. And that's a good thing, because that's letting you know that, there's a negative belief there. And if I feel that and I can start getting used to that, that's why I was able to so quickly be like, hey, that was a belief. Because in my mind, that's what I practice myself all the time. I say like, oh, this is going to be hard to do. How am I supposed to get to this thing or do that thing? It's like, oh, that's a belief. What would you rather prefer? What would you prefer to believe?
This is easy. Life is easy.
Yeah. And if you actually believe that, you can experience it that way. You will experience it that way.
Yeah.
Because that's what creates your feeling. Your feeling of it comes from recognizing where the underlying root is coming from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that has been the biggest life changer for me the past 5 weeks, however, since last time, is literally the affirmation, life is easy, and really believing that and feeling that. So
that is the crux of it, right? Because kind of like we were saying earlier, it's not enough to really intellectually have a grasp on it. A lot of people use this cop-out as like, I understand it intellectually, but I don't really get it. Right? I don't really feel it. The truth of the matter is that actual knowing is doing. If you are not acting in that way, you don't actually know the thing you say you know. If you are not acting in a way that says life is easy, then you're not actually coming from that place. If your emotional state, your state of being, is locked to a different belief, it doesn't matter how many times you say that affirmation. Your resonant frequency is what's creating your experience, right? That's what's letting you know where you're actually at. This is the kind of like emotional education that I think a lot of modern culture has been ignoring for a significant period of time, but we are returning to, is this recognition of the impact of emotions, not just as tools for experience, but tools for how to shape our lives in the ways that we prefer them to be. Right? We can actively make our lives better when we experience fear. But a lot of people are just afraid of fear in general, and so when we hear about that, or when we experience the idea of fear, right? A lot of times people will clam up, right? It's like, no, I don't want that. They just become avoidant of it. But that energy is tight. It's not flowing. It's not loose. And so you're locking yourself in with this fear, and it's just going to hold it there a little longer. And that's how these ideas get reinforced, right? We think the experience that we have is the effect. We think that these thoughts are true, that they are the cause, that these beliefs are that this idea that life is hard, this is truth. And this is why I feel bad. And I can't change how I feel because it would go against this truth. But it's the other way around. It's this idea, this commitment to life being hard as truth, that is the cause. The belief is the cause of that feeling. And when you change your resonance, when you change your emotion, when you change your state of being, right? Life gets different. You can experience life differently when you come at it from a different perspective. It's I'm sure we've all had the kind of experience that says, where someone perhaps you yourself have seen within your own life, and all the people watching have seen that It's just as easy to take a negative experience and use it in a positive way as it is to take a positive experience and use it in a negative way. Maybe you've done it yourself, or maybe you've watched other people do it. Those kinds of things have been modeled for you. The circumstance does not generate the state of being. The state of being is a choice that we have, that we choose to use the circumstance to reinforce it. But if we extrapolate on that a little bit, stretch that out a little bit more, because you can use a negative thing in a positive way and a positive thing in a negative way, then it doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. It only matters how you react, how you engage with it. And that's why another fundamental belief that has helped me change quite significantly is circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. Every problem-solving skill is a creative faculty. And if we've learned anything about different kinds of flow states, the study of flow states has determined, or has very thoroughly researched the ideas of when you are open to making art, when you are open emotionally, your art reflects that. You are able to do more. When I was open emotionally, I was able to actually do more than I thought I was. And then I ended up winning the battle. Apparently other people agreed with me. And the vice versa is also true. When we put a lot of these limiting beliefs into ourselves to such an extent that we are bogged down to that we are not operating at our fullest capacity, why would we expect to come up with solutions to our problems from that state? It is inefficient to have negative beliefs. From a purely mechanical standpoint, it does not make sense. From just that point alone, it doesn't make sense to me why I would continue to choose any kind of negative belief again. Because even if I find any kind of additional accuracy, or it's something else that makes me a little more precise or more specific with my answers, I've still found that faster than I would have with the negative belief systems. I'm still moving and creating more of an effect and improving my life and expanding my consciousness at a faster rate than I was with negative belief systems. The circumstances did not matter. The state of being changed everything. And that's why I say it's part of it is a choice. And by being willing to make that choice within my own state of being, by being present with my beliefs, by being aware of what my beliefs are, consciously changing them, and committing to them not just intellectually, not just as a state of being, but then acting on them. Action is like there's a quote that says, action is the greatest form of prayer. We live in a three-dimensional reality, right? So the idea of prayer, right, whatever it is, there's a lot of things from various spiritual perspectives that just talk about energy. In a three-dimensional world, one of the greatest uses of energy is physical action. So, simply, if there is something you want to believe, begin acting from that state of being. And follow that train of thought. And I a lot of times I hear responses to this because I was, I've had my own journey through this. And I know that some people are like, well, that's great. I'll get fired up for like a week. And then this will happen, and that will happen, and then what? And it's like, part of that is being able to recognize expectations that we impose upon what the new experience of reality is supposed to look like. So part of it is this idea of like, okay, I'm going to commit to this idea and I'm going to act on this and I'm going to do it. And then as soon as X, Y, or Z thing happens, I will know that it's worked. So they don't get those, if they don't see that, then they're like, this isn't working. Then their belief is this isn't working. And then their internal state changes to this isn't working or that doesn't work. And now they're operating and acting from that position. And they are now reinforcing a different set of beliefs, right? So that's why I say it's important to release expectation because we don't know what's going to get us there.
Yeah.
I did want to win, but once I was able to shift my expectation of like, what is winning? I was like, oh, well, winning is just feeling good about my dance. And I was like, that's winning for me. And then in the positive way, I actually did end up winning. Right? And I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then,
literally win-win.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a win-win scenario. It's just, that is like important to keep in mind. If I had to summarize that, because I know that was a lot and this is getting to be a long video.
No, that was beautiful.
But if I had to summarize that, it comes from a particular teacher that I've been interested in, and they summarize it this way, and it's called the excitement formula, and it has a few simple steps. The first is to act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability. It's important to know the difference between anxiety and excitement, because as I said earlier, sometimes anxiety is your excitement, but with a negative belief. This is why it's very important to understand the difference between your fears and your excitement and how to navigate those differences. But to act on genuinely what excites you. Every moment to the best of your ability. Every moment that you can. From moment to moment, taking as far as you can so you can take it no further. With zero expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. Do it because it's who you are. Do it because you're connecting with yourself. There was a time in Japan when I accidentally misbudgeted. I had gotten some money from winning the battle, and I was like, great, now I get to fund my Magic card collection. I play Magic the Gathering, and I was super into it, and we went out and got a bunch of Magic cards, and then I realized, oh no, I didn't expect the train tickets from point A to point B to be so expensive. And I didn't budget for that. And I was just like, okay, I had enough money to take the first leg of the train. And I was like, I know by the time I come back, I will find a way to make money. But I know that it was going to be easy, and I didn't have to worry about it. I'll figure it out. And while I was there, there was a class. I knew about this going into beforehand, but the class itself would cover some of the train ticket. And I was just like, oh, okay, sure, I will figure it out. I'll whatever it is, and I know that it's going to be easy. A friend of mine reached out, and they're like, hey, I'm starting a new app, and we're looking for instructors to teach. And I'm like, they're like, would you be willing to come down to our place and do a quick video for us? They're like, I'm not sure if I can pay you anything, but we'll see what we can do. I'm like, yeah, great, I'll do it. And I go there, and I talk to the guy, and we set something up, and we start recording, and I basically start doing the whole thing, and they were kind of expecting like 20-30 minutes. We recorded for a solid hour, and it was just me going off, like no breaks, just like fire hose of information for this thing. And they were like, wow, that was actually really good. And they're like, by the time it was done, they were like, hey, it's not a lot, but I do want to give you a bit of an advance. And they gave me an advance for that. and it was exactly enough to cover everything that I didn't budget for. With some room for some nice meals. And then they took me out to lunch. And it was just like, see? And it's like, when you operate from that perspective, a lot of things like that you will be able to see. If I was so worried about the money, I may not have taken him up on the first offer. Because, you know, he was like, I don't think there's any pay on the front end. Right? If I was just looking for the money, I may have missed that. But because I was just like, no, this sounds cool, and ultimately in the end, it's going to help me. Doing this thing is going to teach more people. It's part of who I am. It's part of what I do. I'm a dancer. I'm a dance educator. And so I take that very seriously, and it's part of who I am, and that's what I do. I'm passionate about that, so let's do it. So,
very aligned with who you are.
And when you're aligned with who you are, what do you think you're going to experience? More alignment with who you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
The clown horn of celebration.
Yeah. Whoa, I got all this stuff in my hair.
Yeah.
I don't think you finished your act on your highest excitement.
To the best of your ability.
To the best of your
with
ability.
no expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. Those are the three parts. You can additionally supplement this by saying two more things, right? The first three are just act on your highest excitement every moment that you can to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can go until you can take it no further, with zero expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. The supplemental ideas to that, numbers 4 and 5, would be number 4 is pay attention to your beliefs, to your belief systems, right? And adjust as necessary. And number 5 is always stay in a positive state no matter what. Always choose to be in a positive state no matter what. If things are more accessible, more easy to do, if problem solving is a creative faculty, and being down on ourselves or having a pessimistic outlook reduces the likelihood of creative success, or at least if having a negative outlook impedes our creative process or our ability to problem solve in any way, then that is the first thing to go. From an efficiency standpoint, you're like, no, all of that got to be out. Like, really come at it from a perspective of not only this is possible, but I can do this relatively quickly and relatively easily in a way that's like relevant for me, right? And the idea is whatever belief systems you go into it with are what you're going to get out of it with. What you're going to get out of it. Whatever you go into it with is what you'll get out. Yeah.
Yeah, what you put in.
Yeah, what you put in is what you get back, basically. It's that same idea.
Yeah. Do you still want to do one more existential?
We can. It's up to you. However long you want to go.
Yeah.
I am always down to be a fire hose of information. You know, because I stood there talking with you for 4 hours in the Echo Park parking lot or street.
Yeah. You know, people will be
honored
honored to be in the splash zone.
Let her rip.
Yeah. All right. Last one before the final question.
Okay.
I love that these are kind of feeding into each other. So let's see if the last one.
Is that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Life total changing sound?
Oh, what is your biggest hope for the people who practice your dance form?
To know themselves. Dance is beyond just being the art form. I hope that whoever practices it uses it in a way to expand their awareness of who they are, what they're capable of, and what they want out of life, what's possible for them. I hope they break boundaries in terms of challenging themselves with learning things that they perceived as difficult and get to the point where they can do them with ease. I really just want to see people not just necessarily in my dance form, but like in general, like come to like these understandings that a lot of what we were taught about not just dance, but the world that we grew up in, that these things are hard, or that these things are going to take years and years and years and years to do, and it might, but also it might not. I know people who picked a thing that they really liked, and in a year or two became some of the best in the world. I've watched artists blossom and flourish in relatively short time spans like that. It's not inherently true that's going to take you this long. There are people that I know who've been dancing for 15 or 20 years who've been dancing for that long, but they operate at the level that they want. They're not competitive dancers, but that's not what they're about. They did it for joy. It brings them joy, and that's enough, right? We can look at that. You don't have to be an international level battler to say that dance is good for you. You don't have to be in the best shape of your life to say that dance is good for you. Like, dance can just be good for you because you want to do it, and that's it. You don't need anything else out of it. You can just do it because it's fun. You can do it because it's interesting. You can do it because it raises questions within you about what's possible for you. That's really what I'd like for people to get to, is to recognize that as this art form, as any art form, is another reflection of yourself. And to be able to break old habits, break old beliefs, to choose new things for yourself and become more and more aligned with your true nature, your true essence. That's what I hope for everyone in the dance style.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful answer. Yeah, I think right now I am in similar space as well too, in that, which is also, the full circle reason for this podcast, because it goes beyond dance, and then I think a lot of times, especially with dope dancers, people talk to them, interview them, invite them for the purpose of dance when they have so much more offer, like belief system pointing this out for me. Thank you for that beautiful answer. And now, the final question. You can interpret this any way that you would like.
Okay.
The question is very short. Is there a helicopter? That's not the question.
Is there a helicopter?
So, the final question, and I think I'm going to start to carry this question for every interviewer, is at the very end, is why dance now? And you can interpret this in any way that you would like.
Okay. Short answer? Because. Long answer? Because you want to, right? If it's genuinely something that you're curious about, do it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to get world famous status. You don't have to win a bunch of money. You don't have to get booked on a bunch of big gigs to enjoy dance. If it brings you any incremental amount of additional joy in your life, it's worth it. I think a long time ago I heard, I was on set on a web series, on a dance web series called the LXD, the Legion of Extraordinary Dancers. And while I was there, I got to, I was still in film school at the time, and I was basically PAing for them, which also meant that I got to be on set with a bunch of dancers that I looked up to. And I remember at lunch one day, I was there, I can't remember all who was there, but I do remember Lil C was talking at the time, and he was saying something that was really interesting to me, and he said something that stuck with me for a really long time. And he said he thought too many people had reasons to dance. And his perspective was, or what he said at the time was, only when you can dance for no reason can you experience true freedom. And that kind of stuck with me for a really long time. And the thing that I really took away from that was this idea of kind of like releasing your expectation from dance, that it doesn't just have to be like, oh, you are committing to being a dancer because you either went to dance for college or you didn't go to college, you chose to be a dancer instead, right? Like you made different choices in your life and you have to justify those choices in your life, right? Like to do it not because there's any reason to do it, but just to do it for its own sake. And how much can come from that. I think that's especially relevant for me because I didn't plan on having a dance career. I liked dance, and I just did it a lot. About 2 years after graduating film school... No, wait, hold on. After graduating film school, the year I graduated, that summer, I did a dance program at Boogie Zone called Boogie Zone Exchange, where you basically lived at the studio for a month. And it was like an international exchange program for dance. You like lived at a dance studio, and for like a whole month you basically got to take a bunch of classes. And I did this with the full expectation that that would be the end of my dance journey. That was my farewell to dance. Was saying like, okay, I'm graduated college now. I'm glad I got to do everything I got to do in dance. It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna go focus on film now. And so I did that program with the full expectation that the rest of my time I wouldn't have time to devote to dance anymore. And then I went through a really hard period of finding work in film. For about 2 years, I couldn't really find... I went through a bunch of things where I was strung along. People would say that they had a job for me, but if I was willing to work for them for free for a month, that they would consider it an internship, and then they would hire me the following month. And then I would do that, and they're like, psych, we don't actually have a job for you because of budget cuts. Sorry. And then I was like, okay, what do I do now that I've been working for free for a really long time? For funsies during that time, one of the only things I could really do that was really inexpensive was to dance. I didn't need anything else. I didn't need fancy cameras, I didn't need equipment, I didn't need studio space. Literally just anywhere I could just dance. And that was one of those things that like kind of helped me through that rough time, and I was just kind of using it as like I just want to go out and move a little bit. Like I feel a little stressed, I should move, I should do something, right? And I just kind of kept doing that. I just kind of kept up with dance casually. I would go to sessions. I'd go to a battle here or there. And then about 2 years after I graduated, I heard about an audition in Las Vegas. And I was just like, I don't even know if I have the money to go to Las Vegas. Like, I didn't own a phone at the time. That's how broke I was. I could not afford a phone bill. And I was just like, I was pure Wi-Fi. That was it. That was all I had. It was pure Wi-Fi. And this is before a lot of messaging apps really like locked into place. I think I was still using Facebook Messenger, at the time. And so I had my own experience with that, and I was just like, well, what if you spend all this money, it could really help you out. Like the money that it would take to go to Vegas for 3 days minimum, because it was a 3-day audition. So I would need about 3 days worth of stay, right? Minimum. and I would need to be able to find a place to stay. I knew no one in Vegas. And I'd need gas to get there, right? And like all of that. And I would need to obviously eat. And so I was like, that's an expense. And it's like, that could be, that money I could use in a lot of different ways. And part of me, you know, was thinking that. And another part of me was like, well, if you go and you fail, at least you tried it. But if you don't go, you'll never know how it could have turned out. And I was like, yeah. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life wondering what would have happened. So I went. And then I booked the show, and I basically lived in Vegas for 6 years as a professional dancer. And it was a really interesting moment in time, because I thought I'd said goodbye to dance. And then suddenly I was like, now I'm kind of saying goodbye to film. And I know that's probably temporary, but like I had built up this expectation that this is what I was doing. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. I had gone into significant debt for that, both my mom and I. She was very instrumental in supporting me for that as well. But yeah, when I came back, I was just like, great, now I have the opportunity to pursue film stuff. And now I'm back to writing, and I did other film projects, and worked with other filmmakers, and it, you know, just following that fun little cycle of, what's this? And just figuring all that stuff out. So
was that Vegas audition for What I Think It Is?
Yeah. It was for Jabwalkies. Yeah.
Wow. Dang. Yeah. That's really interesting how all these questions kind of just made us caught up to your life from basically the start of your dance to now.
Yeah.
Literally the battle, a few weeks ago. Wow.
I mean, part of that is some of these stories are things that that were very formative, that were very impactful to me. And they all happened at different times in my life. And another part is I've also, the story of those 3 days of that audition is a crazy story. It's one of my craziest stories, how to actually get there. And that was actually one of the things that has inspired me to start my own kind of podcast that I was planning on doing a while ago. But I kind of got motivated to write a book on the side. And I was just like, following my highest excitement as at the time. It's like, I know that these stories aren't going anywhere, and there will be time to make them happen. And in all honesty, I could probably do both. It's just I'm learning to produce more, but I'm not going to force myself to do it, because I've learned that I've come from a more holistic experience of doing that, and I want that whatever I start, I want it to be able to continue. So I knew that in that time, if I was coming at it from a perspective of forcing myself to do it, that it wasn't right, that it wasn't the right way for me. And so now it's just like, I know what's right for me, and I know that when I do it, it's going to be really easy, it's going to be really quick, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. And so that's, now that we've brought it up, it's actually a reminder for me. It's like, oh, this other thing is ready for you, right? So I may just start recording some stuff and putting that online. And we'll see how soon. There was already something that I was planning on making a video about. I might make it a part 1 and part 2, because it's based around animation, but and I'm going to Paris in a few weeks for Paris Animation Week. So I'll probably do like a before and then an after video, and see if anything changes around that. But we'll see how that goes. But so
that would be beautiful, because that was our first question too.
Yeah.
You know, like if you had a podcast.
Yeah.
Last time we had this, somebody pulled this question. It was, I don't know if you know Victoria Ayad, or I don't know if I'm saying her last name correctly, but anyway, it was, she also said, like, wow, I've also been thinking about starting a podcast. So I feel like these questions, whether it's frequencies or whatnot, it's always been exactly what, so that was exactly what I had no expectation of, but also kind of wanting it to be. And in terms of like even motivating me or affirming that this is, I don't want to say necessary, but this is kind of like what I really want to do. You know, this recording these conversations, and especially with you being the first one. So yeah, thank you so much again for joining. I don't know words. Thank you so much again for joining me. We're doing this thing, first time trying this.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me, and for everybody taking the time to watch. It's one of my great passions and pleasures in life is to be able to do this, so I really appreciate having the opportunity. Thank you, Jackson.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to tell people before we go, and also how can people learn more about what you do, if there's any services that you offer that we can also, especially learning more about the belief systems that you mentioned, that was really helpful for me. So yeah, I don't know if you offer that kind of consulting or coaching services for
Absolutely,
people.
yeah. You can find me on Instagram at clockstickin', and I do private services and private consultations for those kinds of things. I do private lessons, right, in dance, one-on-one. Sometimes people come to me for dance lessons, and they're like, "Hey, can you help me out with this thing?" And I'm like, "That's not a dance problem. That's a life thing, and we can talk about that too." And so sometimes people come for me for one thing and then go for another. So both of those things, both for dance. And also, like I specialize in fears, stress, and worry, basically alleviating those things from our everyday experience, and learning to transition those into better belief systems that better serve us to engage more with our joys and our passions.
Wow. So that was a perfect question. It was like, what fear and stressor is it? Like you specialize in this. Yeah, we'll have all that info in the description as well if you want to check out more of Clocks. So
yeah, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, thank you, Clocks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.